All right, hey Blad Dads, I'm going to go ahead and give you a rating here at Blue Springs State Park. The pros and the cons, and I'll give you my final rating. So the pros here is that there is a huge variety of fish that you've seen in the videos. We've got catfish, and alligator gar, mullet, and all kinds of other fish, bass, and we saw 2 juvenile manatees in the spring. And now normally those manatees come and congregate during the December to March when it's really cold, and they actually close down the swimming part of it so the manatees can have the spring all by itself. Swimming, there's a couple of entries into the actual spring itself. When you're going into the spring, there's not a lot of power coming down the spring, not a lot of current, but once you round the bend, after you get into the first tube entrance that's closest to the spring run itself, it's very strong. So that's a plus there when you finally round the corner and you get some actual current. Now, while you're swimming up towards the spring run itself, as you see in our previous videos, the actual cave goes down to 140 feet. And as we got to the spring itself, the water got colder. Towards the end of the run, which goes into the actual river, it was much warmer. So my daughter started to freeze a little bit and get chilled even as we were just swimming over the hole. Now that hole, there's a huge tree that is over the actual entrance of the cave itself, and we saw lots of free divers and snorkel divers go down into the cavern. Now we saw a group of scuba divers, which you can scuba dive here and go into the cave, so that's a plus if you like to do those types of things. I mean, it's a huge area that the water comes out, and there's little pockets of perimeter where you can actually stand. There's even one part where it's part of a tree that fell over and its roots are sticking out, and over time that thing is solidified, and so it's actually almost like a perch that you could see over towards the actual Blue Spring itself. The spring perimeter has got a high ledge all the way around the entire area itself of Blue Spring, and then it's a lot of fun just watching, not only that, the fish underwater swim about. So I took a lot of videos and a lot of pictures of that. So if you want to see a variety of fish, this is the spring to go to. The other springs that we've been to, out of the 5 that you've seen here on Blad Dad, they don't have the variety like they have here, so that's pretty awesome. They've got bathrooms, a shower, concession stand, and a gift shop. Not only that, this place also touts a homestead, the Thurby House. That's a working historic landmark that you can actually go into the house. There's a long boardwalk that from end to end, it would probably take you maybe around 20 minutes to go from one end to the other. They've got kayaks, and they also have canoes as well, and paddle boards. The playground is there, but because of COVID-19, they closed that down. Huge space right by in front of the house. Large space. You can actually probably play a football game or play frisbee over there. So there's lots of places up and down the actual boardwalk itself, but once you get to walking on the trail that goes towards the promontory that looks over the spring and the entrance, the main entrance of where the tubes are, that's an actual boardwalk that's above a swamp. So here are the cons. The biggest con is that there's really not a place for little kids to play. A beach area like Alexander Springs and Silver Glen Springs, this doesn't tout that at all. So there's really woods. You have to be right at the water line at one of the docks if you're able to see your children. So that's a huge minus in my eyes, that if the parents wanted to relax but still keep an eye on their children, because children play for hours, but we couldn't do that. So that's a huge minus here at Blue Springs, that you're not able to have some sort of beach area where you can go ahead and watch the kids play. So if I was going to rate this overall, I would probably rate this a 3, just because of those things. You can't see the spring from where you sit in certain places. The majority of the spring, there's a boardwalk, and that's the only way that you're able to see the river, the spring run itself. Once you get to the Thurby house, then it opens up a little bit. But yeah, there is absolutely no beach area from the kayaks all the way to the actual Boyle itself. And that's why we rate this a 3. But we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun because we had a lot of fun watching the fish and discovering it, and using that boardwalk just to walk back and forth. Plenty of shade. So yeah, that's our rating here at Blue Springs. So that's our 6th spring of 1,000 springs, and this is the end of summer for Bladad, because starting tomorrow, our school district goes back to school in terms of training, and then the following week, on that Monday, Bladad goes back to teaching elementary school. All right, so that's it here from Blue Springs State Park. If you like what you see, go ahead and like down below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, as well as hit that bell for notifications, and don't forget to share. And hopefully we'll see you in the next spring. Okay, bye everybody.